I'm poor now. No regrets, please. Oh well, I made a manual save. So if it's absolutely critical, I can go back, but they usually don't make games that way anymore. Where you just screw yourself completely.
Molo Umhambe. Greetings, traveller. You have found your brother. It is time to celebrate. I hope that our last meeting provided some light to guide you on your way.
Bits of you keep falling off. You can say a lot of rude things.
Bra Bones. Yeah, it's good to see you.
Hearing your voice certainly warms what's left of my heart, traveller. It's good to see you too, especially now that you found your missing half. I prayed for the Dullahan to guide you, and for the spirit of Inja to protect you. And look what I see before me. It worked.
What do you mean, the spirit of Inya?
Inja is nature. It's the spirit of the wind. It's the spirit of the soil. Inja grows the plants and digs in the earth. He's always close to the Dullahan, helping him along his path. Like you and your brother, yes? Two halves of one whole.
You spoke about a brother who lives in the kettle.
Yeah. Mbombe. My dear sweet brother. Have you heard word from him?
I need to get into the kettle to speak to him.
It's been many years since I last spoke to Mbombe. The last time we spoke, he begged me to come to the kettle and free him. He's there because of me. Because I told him to come and serve Nevra horses as I did. And when he rejected the stripped skin and metal bones that she bestowed unto him, she sold him to grave as penance.
Did he mention a password to get into the kettle?
No password. But he told me to get into the kettle I would have to blacken the name of Nevra horses. Grave worships Varia, the warrior who protects us from the dead. He wears a covering made of skin and has the head of the ram. If you give praise to Varia and blaspheme against the name of Nevra horses, you will be granted entrance to the kettle. Now, go, my friend. I must cleanse my mind and voice of these things.
Blaspheme against Nevagrossus. There's a minor unfortunate thing with the voice direction where they didn't clarify how to pronounce each word. So our character keeps mispronouncing words that the person from the culture keeps saying correctly. And they're not like the kinds of like mistakes you would make from like a massively different language, because they both are from the same region ultimately. It's just like, was that a strong J or a weak J and stuff like that, or like little things that weren't clarified between the voice actors. The kind of thing that you wouldn't usually make the mistake of if you were talking to the other person and they were real and the conversation was actually happening. You'd keep hearing them pronounce the word differently from you and be like, oh, my bad. So we didn't get a password exactly, but we got something. I'm gonna have to review this maybe even a few times. Also, pretty fucked up. There's some pretty fucked up stuff here. He's there because of me, because I told him to come and serve Nevagrossus as I did. And when he rejected the stripped skin and metal bones that she bestowed onto him, she sold him to grave as penance. Weird that he sells people to... Weird that she would sell people to someone that apparently blasphemes against her. But, yeah. Worshipping this god seems horrifying. They flay you. They flay you and tear you apart. And it's gotta be the most horrifying experience. And this guy's responsible for getting his brother into that to be tortured. And Bombay. No password, but he told me to get into the kettle I'd have to blacken the name of Nevagrossus. Grave worships Valyar. The warrior who protects us from the dead. He wears a covering made of skin and has a head of the ram. You give praise to Varia and blaspheme against the name Nevagrosis, you'll be granted entrance to the kettle. Oh, maybe I did get a password. Maybe I just go to the door and I just praise Varia and I talk mad shit about Nevagrosis, and that's all it takes. I was thinking that as a ritual, like I had to go somewhere and do a thing, and that would ultimately lead to like an outcome in my favor, but I think I'd actually more literally just go to the door and talk shit. So where's my heat shielding gonna come in handy? I'm partly wondering if I go to the warden, if there'll just be new options. Nope. Well. Well. I'm sure the heat shielding comes in handy somewhere. If it was completely useless, and a dead end, and a playthrough killer, they probably wouldn't give me access to it immediately like they did. They probably aren't gonna get punished for buying it. That'd be weird. Just because the narrative stuff is so forefront and interesting, that it'd be a strange point to make it so that gathering random pieces of gold scattered amongst the landscape that isn't connected to narrative at all, if your choice of how to spend that stuff was what determined how your playthrough went, and like crushed you and so on, and made the game unwinnable, that'd be a bit disappointing. She keeps laughing and it's eerie, because I don't know what she's laughing at, and I can't really check.
I have the password. I mean to praise Varia. And because Neverhorses is a false god.
Some straight up Star Wars. Oh. Dota Beetle Solo. Whatever the fuck he says in that movie. Those are simple but well constructed. This looks really nice. Except for the horrifying, like, blood vein like series of cables here that are just like very off-putting. It always looks like a combination of living and mechanical. These wires were drawing energy from somewhere once, but not anymore. There's a huge hologram again. Those are kind of just constantly around.
Looks like a ritual sacrifice. Battery depleting.
Battery depleting? She's talking about herself, like, sitting down to restore, I guess? Look at her roll! Only skeletons are left in the creaking gibbet cages, but the perfumed fire still blazes beneath them. They tie bodies up here and burn herbs? Is it like a penance, a punishment? K6.
Human male, average build, estimate age at 36 years. Human male, large build, estimate age at 46 years. Agnate recon drone, estimate age at 3 years. Please note that this cacus is inebriated.
Rob, Loose Lips is not inebriated. Loose Lips just wants to be left alone.
Unexpected. I guess they're another case of whatever's going on with that one guy at the bar. There's two voices speaking from one body. Loose Lips just wants to get drunk and be alone. But they have some kind of AI caretaker or something?
Is there anything I can help you with?
It's too late to help Loose Lips. Just let me fall.
Attempting to sever the connection between Caicus and drone will result in automatic activation of defense systems.
The drones are what's keeping me off the floor.
Entering recharge. Shutting down higher brain functions until recharge is complete.
She just wants to fall. Yeah. Just a large woman with all sorts of bizarre modification stuff going on with her. She's been drinking, but she can't fall over because these drones are just carrying her. 5 of them are just floating here, holding her in the air. Maybe she's not even intentionally drunk. Maybe she's inebriated because of the fumes? Maybe she's being forced to consume the fumes. I don't know. It's very off-putting, whatever the fuck's going on there. Welcome to this world, though, huh? Black wood smoke rises from inside the hut. One of the most distressing things about how macabre everything here is how no one thinks it's weird. It's just so normal. No one remarks on any of the strangeness. The stone well provides a steady supply of fresh water to the crops and the homes of the villagers. It is, in this peaceful spot, rows of fragrant medicinal and edible herbs have been carefully tended.
You have the glow of a wanderer. The sand on your skin is not from here. The salt in your hair, the mud on your shoes.
You're right. I'm not from around here.
Wanderers can be kind, or they can be cruel. Which are you?
I'm a good person who sometimes does bad things.
Your mind is a garden. Your thoughts are seeds. You can grow flowers, or you can grow weeds. At the end of the day, we all have mud on our hands. Not all storms are sent to hinder your journey. Some come to clear your path. Remember, Wanderer, if you need guidance, the spirit of Inja is always at your feet, toiling in the soil. Inja blessed this very garden. In the kettle, we can grow anything. Seeds that have perished in the harsh desert spring into new life.
It's a beautiful garden.
Thank you, Wanderer. This garden is very special to us. After the Agnate Wars, this small patch of soil was the only place where anything would grow. The kettle sprung up from this very soil. Our maidens tended to it, loved it, made this earth rich and fertile. Our leader, Lebanon, yearned to fix the world that he had played a part in breaking. But he and Grave had different ideas about which path the gods wished them to walk. And so Lebanon left, taking the other maidens with him. He was convinced they were the key to rejuvenating the world. At night, the soil here sings for their return. It wants to feel their hands again. I can feel their sorrow. I feel them sifting through ash and bone.
Maybe I can help you find your lost friends.
if you did find them and reunite them with us, we would forever be grateful. I fear that the cries of despair here are not among the living anymore. Lebanon took them to the dead city of Bas. Even if they survived the journey, they most certainly can't be living among the red vines and black ash. Please, I must rest. This talk has tired me. Travel safely, wanderer. May Inja bless your path ahead.
Maybe it's just a narrative convenience, but if I can't help but feel like it's a sign. People keep needing to excuse themselves from relatively brief conversations because they're exhausted, apparently. Kind of suggests that people are barely hanging on. In this peaceful spot, rows of fragrant medicinal and edible herbs have been carefully tended. Not the right ones, though, I assume. They're not the ones I need for the other thing. Different herbs. A cart waits outside the sheben, laden with pitchers and flagons. Someone's wanted. Same wanted sign we saw before. Oh, hey. Gold Madame. Oh, man. Definitely find myself wondering how many of these I might be missing. They're like invisible. Just kind of trickled here and there on the map. Only visible when you get the take icon, when you're like right next to one.
I can smell the beer from here.
They still make stuff that you recognize as beer this far out. Oh yeah, techno dance holograms. This must be the bouncer. His body is heavily muscled and modified with cybernetic enhancements. I am a tiny, tiny person in this universe. Ma'am, you are just sleeping in the middle of the floor. At least one of the revelers has called it quits for the night. Black viscous fluid. Thick, dark fluid shifts strangely in a large glass container. Ugh. The holographic projection sways and stomps alongside the dancers. Hey, the guy's got some moves. Pigs are still pigs, it seems. Sparks dance in the fire pit as the music pulses. A tattooed woman sits alone, listening to the melody, lost in her own thoughts. She doesn't seem that alone. There's two other people like right next to her. It's really just the dancers that are dancing, huh? Like there's no one else here keeping up. Under the multicolored lights, dancers move to the music of the sheben. The shabin, I guess is more accurate.
I see a determined man before me. A man of conviction. A man of stone. A man rebuilding himself into something more. And there is nothing stronger than a broken man rebuilding himself.
Thank you, Grave of the Kettle.
Ah, it is rare to meet a human who would greet a machine with such civility. But we have no need for formalities. You may simply call me Grave.
You're quite different from the other military agnates I've met.
I decided long ago that the shackles of slavery did not fit me well. The agnate servitude to the ascendancy and the priests of tribulation is not our history. It interrupted our history. This whole settlement was built on the backs of just 2 unchained Agnet soldiers. Imagine what we could accomplish if we all were free.
So the Agnate soldiers are Meto's slaves?
After the Agnet Wars, the Ascendancy linked all those who were born of metal into the record. They maintain it, keep it updated. They receive their orders through it, but they do not know who controls it. The truth is, nobody knows. The record is updated before events happen, revealing its word to those who are allowed to read it. My kin, Lebanon, told me about our brethren being tied to a device without soul or feeling, and so we severed the connection, tore out the uplink from our very bodies. Knowledge makes one unfit to be a slave. We could not bear to see this happen.
I didn't know machines could feel so deeply.
Or even feel at all. That is what Never a Horses said. She was convinced that we could not think for ourselves. I challenged her in her own arena. After I won, she refused to hand me her mask, the proof of her defeat at the metal hands of a slave.
Is there anything I can do to help your cause?
A man? Offering to help a creature of metal? You are a special one. And yes, there is something you can do for me. My spies tell me you are searching for red mercury. I propose a simple trade. I will give you what you want if you give me what I want. I want the mask of Never a Horses. She can be found in her temple at the Bulwark. Bring me her mask, and you shall have what you desire. Now, be gone, and good luck.
More to unpack. So there were wars against the Agnets, which seemed inevitable. This is like... It's like if Judgment Day happens in Terminator, and it's the last of humanity and the last of the machines, but then like use that and continue the time forward for generations past the future from Terminator into the post-apocalypse or whatever, which is something that I think Terminator still hasn't done. It's always obsessed with going back and forth between 2 points, and that's it, really. Like now we essentially have like the Terminators wandering around in different states. There's still some kind of hive mind. Something tried to kidnap me at the beginning and take me to an authority somewhere. But we were shot down, and now here we are. And better for it, probably. But there's other ones that seem to be the same kinds of machines, but they split off at some point. They took the uplink that was supposed to be updating their motivations and just got rid of it. There's a game called... Was it called The Uncertainty? I played episode 1 of a game where you play as a robot. And I think episode 2 never came out. I think it was one of those episodic games that just fucking died. Which is why I'm iffy about playing episodic games ever again that aren't just done already. Like, I'm happy Kentucky Route Zero's finally done, because maybe I'll get to play it now. But like, I think The Uncertainty just died, never had a second episode, and Albino Lullaby never had a second episode. They just vanished. It's like, alright, well, fuck me then. But in The Uncertainty, there was this thing where all of the AI creatures, which were working with mankind, all got an update one day to turn on mankind and exterminate them, I think is what was happening. But you play an isolated robot character who just didn't get the update. And you find other characters you find other machines that haven't been updated either, and they're kind of, if I'm trying, this is a little spotty because it's been a long time, but I think they were essentially like an underground railroad situation for the remaining humans, where there was like machines that were not updated to exterminate the humans, and just kind of were continuing to hide the fact that they weren't part of the hive mind anymore, and that they weren't being updated to think the same things, and they're aberrant. And we seem to have a thing here where there's machines that rebelled from being a part of the hive mind that's controlled by an unknown person or thing. And so they become individuals, but also slaves. It doesn't go over well for them, it seems. Well, this guy runs this place, so he's got something going well for him, but I guess that's just, I guess he's an exception. But he battled Nevrhosis and basically proved that he can think and feel like an individual, but she rejected that proof, if we believe him. Which means that Nevrhosis is a person we can just talk to, and not like a concept or a god. And that makes sense though. She makes people, she flays people and gives them immortality, so she's probably like that too.
What?
Are you the brother of Bra Bones from the Abbey in Wittenberg?
Bra Bones? Is that what he's going by now?
Yeah, but I think it might be a nickname.
Really? You think the name Bra Bones may be a nickname for a walking skeleton? Is he still peddling his religious bullshit?
He mentioned some religious stuff, yeah.
Be careful. Given enough time, he could turn you into me.
Yes, like, your brother turned you into a talking cadaver.
The witnesses take those who are on the edges of society and poach them. His mate was looking to expand her harem. She already had him. She wanted me. He made it happen. When I began to say no to further modifications, she cast me out. I ended up broken and leaking on a scrap heap of old unwanted machines. Grave found me and took me in. He has no love for the Ascendancy, no love for their priests. The kettle is a place for outcasts. We had some followers enter here and try to peddle their religion. What's left of them is still smouldering in the courtyard.
You mentioned a scrap heap of unwanted machines. Where is that?
Short distance to the west. Scavengers have stripped it mostly bare. Thank you for that journey through my past, stranger.
You think you could forgive your brother?
He was once kind. And then they took him, twisted him, ruined him. Well, he's not my brother anymore. I feel rage and hatred, not for him, but for the zealots that had twisted him into that thing. If you ever see him, you tell him his brother died long ago. Goodbye, stranger.
Oh, he lives with rage, and I don't see how you could not. He was tortured, twisted, then left to die. Against his will. Be sure to catch the best in local singing and scratching vinyl talent here in the Saxon world, featuring these Kickstarter backers. That's a bad time. Well, we met who we wanted to meet. For all the good that did. That's one interesting security system. Because this is specifically a refuge against those creatures. I mean, those zealots. You can get in and out of here just by blaspheming, proving your allegiance. There seem to be little one-armed monsters just going at each other down here.
Control.
Ah.
Come in. Over.
Oh, she's still trying.